Tesco as a customer of Verizon. They're a huge grocery supermarket business here in the UK, so a really important client at this time to keep food on the shelves for everybody. They've seen their business grow. Their home shopping business is 50% up, even on their biggest Christmas peak. So they're under real pressure right now. And everything we do for them is essentially their digital nervous system. So there's no products that move, no orders that get shipped, nothing that goes through a till or a register without landing on the services that Verizon provides to Tesco. And right now there's pressure on the capacity in the supply chain. So Tesco really need to open new depots. So we managed to get some emergency connectivity in there with wireless equipment. We've been laying out LAN technology, we've been laying out Wi-Fi technology, but amazingly now we've also got full connectivity into that location. The job has been unbelievably well organised by everyone across the business, and it's a critical time to support Tesco. So thanks to them all, and thanks for letting me share this story.
Oh, that's great to hear. That was Howard Spink, who's, as you heard there, part of our team in the UK, connecting Tesco and doing what they do. Now, I want to remind folks that we've got folks working around the world for us, as we do every single day. So you should be seeing some photos of some of our global service management team. As you can see in their different locales there. Keep calm and carry on. That team's doing a heck of a job, so thanks for all that. But that's not the only folks who are out there working. If we go to the next photo, we keep talking about the critical work that our technicians are doing. Some bad weather earlier this week in upstate New York. Some trees down. We can go to the next photo there, working with different providers, the city there, to get people reconnected when they need it most. But that's not all. Up and down, all across America, all across the country, dealing with this daily. Onto the next photo, where we see some of our workers from the Virginia Beach area doing the critical work that needs to be done to keep people connected. And then as we wrap this out, taking a look at the photos of people working, our response teams are out there doing a great job in our stores. There are stores open doing critical essential needs at this time. So here we are live again, noon 12:02 Eastern we have for us today. And thanks so much for joining us again for Up to Speed Live. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing Andy, Katie, and Jess there at the beginning of our morning edition. That will continue to do throughout all of this. And what a great visual to see Corey's son there take those first steps. That is something magical to share. So we're going to go around, get some updates this morning. We'll have Hans on, we'll have Christy, and then joining us today is Wendy Taccetta from our Verizon Business Group to talk about the work they are doing. So without further ado, let's get right to Hans. Hans, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Hi, Jeremy. Hi, all V-teamers. Yet another day in this pandemic. And first of all, remind us all about the priorities we have. First of all, safe and healthy for all of us as V-teamers. That's number one. And number two, keeping the network up. And that's continue to be our mantra, and will be so through all this process. First of all, on the employee side, we know that we have V-teamers that have caught the COVID-19, and first of all, my thoughts are with them, and the support is also there. Christy and her team is reaching out to all of them to see what they need and how we can support them. That's very important, and Christy will talk more about it, but our thought is with those V-teamers that has caught the COVID-19 right now, and hopefully we'll stay strong through this. When it comes to the network, as you saw in the pictures, the team is doing an incredible job out there, and both seeing that the network is up, but also adding a lot of capacity. I just spoke to Kyle this morning, our head of networks, where remember we got some leased spectrum. The team has already put up new capacity on that spectrum that we got just days ago. That means that our team is just cranking up more capacity in the network, and it might be needed over time. Right now, the network is actually going very well. And the latest stats from the network is basically 47% more WebEx usage on the network or conferencing since the baseline, and over 50% growth on VPN connections since the baseline. Baseline meaning when we started sort of this pandemic. That means that we're 50% more people using and accessing from home their critical applications from the work, etc. So tremendous change how we work in this country and where we are, so and how we access our applications, and that goes for us as well as a company. Christy talked about it yesterday. Remarkable quickly how we have turned around and have so many people working from home and actually continue to do the daily duties, which are so important to keep the company up. On the customer side, I mean, you saw our customer from Tesco and the importance of what we do. We work with all type of customers. Today, I want to highlight the first responders, which we'll have a priority on. And I would say that we're working with more than 160 emergency command centers, which are put up in the country to both help them with the hotspots, to give them charging stations, better coverage, tablets, etc., what is needed. We're also working with emergency centers which are doing the testing for COVID-19. So it's a big effort that we have out in the field supporting one of the most important and critical things in this country right now. It's the healthcare and the first responders. So that's happening. Maybe you saw or maybe didn't see, but we continue to come out with news what we're doing for our society. Yesterday, Ronan and his team came out with a great press release talking about content for free, especially, first of all, education content that goes out through our channels, which is going to be free, so children can get even more training in education. But there also is some premium content as well, like movies, etc., for free, in order in this time when many people are staying at home to actually have something enjoyed. So a lot of things happening, and you might wonder why I have a jacket today. That's because we have a virtual board meeting today. So I've just stepped out from one screen to another screen. So the board is also working on WebEx today. We have a full board meeting from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening. And we are trying to run as a normal board meeting, as we're trying to do with everything else. So that's what's happening today. Jeremy, back to you.
Hans, thanks so much. Appreciate the updates. And I also said Wendy Taccetta is on with us from the Verizon business team. Now, I just got to tell you this about Wendy. She's one of the most incredible leaders in the company. I love connecting with her, but I stay connected with her on Twitter. So if you're not following her there, make sure you give her a follow, because it's a good kind of a step away from what's happening and everything that's going on in the world. So Wendy, give us the latest of what's happening with the business group employees and the businesses you're supporting around the world, please.
Perfect. So thanks, Jeremy, for the plug. I appreciate that. So I really want to take a moment to say thank you. It seems like such a small word, but really it encompasses, I think, how we're all feeling. So first, I appreciate the fact that we're here to talk about what the business team is doing. I'm going to do my best to represent the work of a small army of people who have been working around the clock. I really think we appreciate the partnership we've had, whether it's been GTS, HR, facilities. Everyone sort of come to this moment with an attitude of, we will find a way. And that's been pretty incredible to experience. But I also appreciate our global team. The reality is that we activated our disaster response in Asia Pac on January 27th. And, this is a company that plans for the unexpected, but even for us, this has been a test. And that team figured out how to care for employees, how to care for customers, and they gave us a pretty good blueprint when we started to do our work in the U.S. So hats off to that team. And then I think as an employee, it's been a really great feeling to realize we are an essential function. We work in a business that is essential now more than ever. And I take a sense of pride in that. And I think that's been the foundation of how all the teams have been responding to this moment. There's a really great quote out there that says, we take pride in what we've achieved, but we have confidence in that we can do even more. And that's the way that the business team has approached this moment. So like Krista and Kevin, you heard from this week, we've been first prioritizing getting employees to work from home. Now, what we've done is we've taken an approach of speed versus perfect. And what that's let us do is get 99% of our employees enabled to get home. Now, hats off to Mike Bickle's team who runs customer support. That team has figured out how to take an influx of calls, transition home, and juggle everything they have going on in their own homes with their families. And really, it's been just a great show of the sign of the employees we hire every single day. Now, what I will tell you is we've also had what we call everyday heroes. I could list 200 people, but I'll call out a few of them. So Susie Norton, Crystal Kennan, Leonard Romney, Alan Mott, Chris Davidson, Courtney Regine, Scott Novak, and just an army behind them who have done everything it has taken to get laptops to people who've never had them, to care for employees who have their own individual circumstances. We appreciate the way that you've shown up, and it has made a difference to our business. Now, the second group I want to call out is the road warriors. So the business team spends a lot of time on planes, trains, and automobiles because we believe being in front of customers makes a difference. Now, all of our teams are home now, but the relationships they've built over all this time are paying dividends for us. Because when we call customers and say, how can we help you? They're taking our calls because they know that we are coming to them with solutions that are ready for their business. So hats off to that team because the work they have done has really helped us unlock some new opportunities that we probably never expected. So you heard earlier from Tesco, well, there's customers like Amazon and Walmart, businesses that are also essential right now that are turning to us and looking for our support. So for all you parents out there, we're also working with school districts across the country. Earlier this week, you may have seen an announcement. We were able to develop a partnership with LA school districts for about 120,000 students who don't normally have internet at home and maybe wouldn't have been getting the same educational opportunities. So we found a way to get, and that is the second biggest school district in the country. So we take a lot of pride in our ability to show up for them, and we are doing that all over the country with Andreas Orlando's team and the work and the partnerships that they've created. You heard Hans talk earlier about all these EOCs that we are showing up at. Well, the Verizon response team is part of VBG as well. We are out there at 166 locations. All these places that they're spinning up test sites, well, they need connectivity because that's how they get all the test results that they need to treat patients. So hats off to our VRT team that is out there right in the middle of it with customers and with first responders. Now, here's something else that's been interesting. Customers are changing the way they're doing business. For years, we thought it is better when we are face-to-face. Well, our telesales team can tell you customers are willing to do business over the phone right now, and we're actually seeing just about a 200% increase in call volume from that team. So hats off to our Tampa team that is working from home right now and making customers connected to services that they need. Now, the other team that can tell you about new demand is our conferencing team. Mike Bickle's conferencing team is taking something like 3 times the request. So think of all the companies that need to stay connected with their employees. Think of all the leaders that are out there trying to stay connected with customers. It's not just Verizon. It's every customer out there counting on our services, and they are doing an incredible job. So in the quote, I said we're confident that we can do even more. Well, here's why. We've worked years and years to build the customer base we have, and it is showing dividends for us. Our customers are taking our calls, and new customers are calling to sign up with us too. We know that we have a team who is going to find a way to get, and we know that we have partners that are standing behind us, locking arms and making sure we do this together. So we feel confident, but we're also confident that our employees have brought our business into their homes. They've let our company really invade their natural environment, and we are trying to figure out how that new business as usual is going to look. And it means taking some time out with your friends and your family, going outside for a breath of fresh air, making a phone call to someone who maybe is living alone right now. We can find time to do that and take care of our customers. We're committed to getting better at our response every day. And I would just say, we're going to get through this together because that's the way we built this business, and that's the way this business will always stand. So Jeremy, back to you.
Now, if those words from Wendy don't fire you up and make you want to go sell some things and serve our customers, then I don't know what will. And a good reminder, the sign behind her: work hard, be kind, stay humble. Those words mean so much at this time. Thank you for that, Wendy. Christy, who leads our HR team, is up next with us. Christy, what's the latest from you today?
Thanks, Jeremy, and great to have Wendy with us today, and always great to hear from our operations leaders out to the V-teamers. I think a couple of highlights, so I'll just jump right in. I think first and foremost, I want to again just put out a heartfelt extension of all the V-Teamers' well wishes to any of our employees that have coronavirus. And just to reiterate, we did put a care management system in place. So we have a nursing team from Anthem here in the United States reaching out to any of our employees that have, through our medical systems, confirmed that they have coronavirus. This is completely private. We want to make sure our employees have someone to talk to that's in the medical profession and knows how to get all the resources and support that they need. And we're doing something similar outside of the United States. Second, you heard from Wendy all the great ways in which we've pivoted and been incredibly agile as a company. So we now have over 110,000 V-Teamers working from home. Over 25,000 people received virtual training this week for new roles that they're doing. We've got thousands of assets and computers on their way to people to be able to work from home. We've done home garaging. And Krista mentioned yesterday, we're beginning a process with our retail associates to help identify temporary work assignments for them. So I think this is really Verizon at its best, and all of our V-Teamers really coming together to help each other and to help the company. And so to that end, we know we're getting a lot of great questions from our employees that says, how else can we help out? Can we volunteer? Are there ways in which we can do something to help our communities with coronavirus out there? And so I would just say, stay tuned. We're building a platform, and we'll hear from Rose Kirk very shortly, but we will have a way and an inventory of volunteer assignments that folks can do digitally to help contribute to coronavirus support or to communities and others hard hit by this global pandemic. Another thing, thanks for those of you going to the webpage and asking questions that you still have. We're getting over 100 questions a day. And as I mentioned, myself and a team of folks are looking at those. We really appreciate the feedback and the insights. We're using it to update our webpage content. And also one of the more frequently asked questions was, when are we going to return? How long are we going to keep operating like this? So what I wanted to share a couple of thoughts on that is we anticipate that it won't be one solution worldwide, that as communities and areas of the world feel that the worst of the coronavirus is behind them and they remove shelter-in-place restrictions and allow businesses to open back up, we will follow with those protocols. We expect to see that with schools and governments around the world. And so we will give you all plenty of notice. We expect it to be community or region at a time, and we can expect to operate like this into next week at a minimum. And then lastly, before we hit questions, a couple of fun things. We are going to be running a Leadership Edge podcast highlighting new ways of working and success stories from all of you around the company. So stay tuned for that coming soon. And our fitness center trainers teams are putting some of their workouts out to our V-Teamers so that they can find ways to work out at home. So back to you, Jeremy.
Awesome. Thank you, Christy. I will now change the studio into a workout room here and really get down to it. I've seen Shravya challenged me the other day to do the 10 push-ups, and I haven't done it yet. Shravya, I'm sorry, I'm going to do it this week, I promise. So thanks for all of the updates there. And Wendy talked about our people who are out there serving. Even before this happened, we had some workers who are remote in these international places. One of those I want to share a story with you right now is one of our V-Teamers down in Mexico City, Hector Madrid. I want to share his story with you about how he's helping his customers right now.
I'm Hector Borro. I'm based out of Mexico City. I work for the Verizon business group on the sales side. I used to do work from home on Fridays. The dynamic is not new to me, but having it done on a weekly basis, then it comes with its particular challenges, right? Especially when my kid is at home, my wife is also here, so we have to juggle and to cope with the new reality we're living now, right? I had a specific customer that came to me like in a panic mode, saying, "Hey, we cannot get our workforce connected. They are dropping. Their connection is not fully working. So we need an emergency upgrade to our service with you, right?" And the customer was very surprised and happy to hear that we were able to turn it out in a couple of hours instead of days, maybe weeks that a regular process takes. So we made it happen in a few hours, and the customer was really, really appreciative of that. I'm really grateful for the response of our leadership of getting in front of the lines, doing these live webcasts, saying, okay, these are the steps we're taking. I think that provides much clarity and also peace of mind to all the V-teamers around the world.
And my apologies to Hector Boro there from Mexico City. Hector, thanks for sharing your story. So I want to jump into questions. I'm going to come to Wendy first, since she's our guest of the day with the Verizon Business Group. Wendy, how can we help our customers get the best experiences possible right now in terms of the meetings that we set up and the things that we're doing as a company?
So thanks, Jeremy. It's been interesting as we're all trying to figure it out. Here's a couple of tips that Mike Bickle has shared with us, and I would think of him as the king of service. So here's what he has shared. First up is look at different options for which video services you're using for conferencing. So we have Google Hangouts, we have Zoom, we have WebEx. The second thing is don't schedule your calls at the top of the hour. There's lots of requirements for our systems at 10 o'clock. Whereas at 10:15, it gives us a little more spread on our network. The third thing is we all have to recognize many of us are using our local ISP. So if possible, use an Ethernet cable to plug into your ISP. You'll get a little bit of a better, stable connection. And the last thing is I know we all love to look at each other, but decide when video is really relevant and when you could just do a one-to-one voice call. So sometimes it's going to be video because we're talking to customers about something really impactful and we're showing them things. And sometimes a voice call is even better than anything you could do over a text message. So that's our advice, and it'll help us and it'll help our customers.
Good to know. And then secondly for you, Wendy, I think we're seeing a lot of other companies come under pressure. How are we continuing to support those companies that may have to change the way they're working?
It all depends. So here's what the reality is. When you look at Verizon Business, we support customers in just about 13 different ways. Depending on the products they're buying, they may be on our network. We may be buying their network from someone else. We may be providing professional services. Our request is that you start with a website. So we point our customers to the same information that we give our sales team. The second thing is let's try to answer the customer's specific questions. And in many cases, that means reaching out to our customer support team, so Shelley Ashwell and Monica Hammond's team. They are experts at this, and a lot of times they can answer what's on your customer's mind. And then we created a mailbox for customers who have questions we don't have answers to yet. And every day we pull out those questions, we send it out to our partners, and we work to find answers. The reality is for us and for our customers, everything doesn't have an answer right now. Some things have we need to go work on that. We'll get it to you as soon as we can. And customers feel confident that we mean it when we say it. We just have to stand behind our word that we'll try to get better every day.
Good to know, Wendy. So, Christy, you mentioned there's the emails that are coming into you. What are some of the trends you're seeing and some of the things that we just need to really hammer home for our employees today?
I think a lot of folks are asking about when are we going to return to normal. And I think I just want to reiterate for everybody that this is sort of really, really uncertain times. And that's why we're doing the broadcast. We're acting on the information we know. And so I would say for this week and into next, we fully expect to operate like this as we help and do our part to follow all the shelter in place guidance that's out there. Another thing, we get a lot of folks asking about when will they hear back on any of their leave requests? So we've got a team of over 50 people manning the requests, and we're putting a 24-hour turnaround time on those, particularly for the child care and the caregiver leaves. With respect to the underlying medical condition leave, often that can be turned around in 24 hours if the employee already has their medical documentation. But again, given the urgency, we're trying our best to get back to everybody within the day.
All right, Christy, thanks so much. And like she always mentions, if you have questions, go to the Ask Christy page to get those in, and folks are answering them there. Christy, thanks so much. Hans, earlier you mentioned the board is meeting today. What are you all discussing? What's on their minds, and what's their message to employees at this time?
So first of all, you do as I do with everything. Of course, we talk about the current situation, about what we're doing, how we're responding. We have a very experienced board that, first of all, are sitting in other boards, and also some are even operational leaders. So they are giving us advice what they are doing. So we're sharing that. but you also want to run the business as normal, whatever we are doing, and how we take this company forward in the future, because the strategy has to be reviewed, the financials has to be reviewed. So I think you do that balance, but of course it's an overhang of questions around our response. However, we have kept our board very up to date on everything we're doing as a company, weekly, sometimes daily, what we're doing. We're sending information to them, and a couple of extra meetings as well, just so we get the experience and have the discussion with them as a board should do. So that's how the conversation is going today, and we have a couple of hours left here after this, so we're going to see how it's going to end.
Good. Thank you, and good luck with that. I do appreciate it. Now, want to thank, obviously, Christy for joining us again today, and Wendy as well. Hans, go ahead and leave us with some final thoughts for today, if you would, please.
I just want to extend my gratitude to all the V-teamers for the work you're doing. The frontline employees in these days are doing a heroic work, and it's so important, as you can hear from all the testimonials and people we talk to and customers. So I just want to thank you all for that. I want to give some ideas for the ones working from home. Usually it's like the first week is sort of setting it up, the time is running, it's going pretty fine, it's a lot of complexity to get started. Second week you get into it. Third week is really when I think things will start hitting you working from home, and finding a rhythm and a way of working that is very different. So many of us are going into the third week right now, probably in the beginning of the week. Some, as Wendy said, is probably in the 5th, 6th, or even 7th week. So they have already experienced it. So that's an experience you have. If you're getting into the third week, you're going to feel a little bit exhausted about it. It's very different. You just need to find the ways and models to work. And then, as I said so many times before, communication in these times, colleagues, partners, friends, families, that's going to be important. We see it from the network. I'm just asking all you V-teamers doing the same, because the network is really up these days of communication on calls, messages. I remember I shared yesterday 9 billion messages a day right now, equally much as a New Year's Eve. So, of course, people are doing it. So I think we are doing it. But think about your colleagues as well, because we're all sitting home doing our work, and it's going to be a different. And as Christy said, we cannot really foresee exactly when this is going to go over. So we probably need to be prepared. It's going to take some more. So we just need to continue to have the cadence and the perseverance to work from home. So once again, I'm thanking all the V-teamers for the fantastic work you're doing. And I'm sure we're going to see each other in less than 24 hours.
You know the timing well, Hans. Thanks for that final message. Back with everyone at noon. A couple of things for you. Don't forget that the best viewing experience for this is to go to your mobile device and go to the Up to Speed Twitter stream. It's a lot easier to do, and we've heard about taking those steps that we need to take to make sure our customers have good viewing experiences. Let's do that for ourselves as well. And I want to close with this. This is a message from Craig Silliman that will pop up on the screen that he shared with his team yesterday when we talk about working from home and how this is so important. I mean, Craig is a great writer. I'm not saying that, but this message really captures what is the new normal for our folks working from home, but also the folks who are still doing that essential work out in the field, where at any given time, we're juggling many things in our lives: working, raising children, caring for loved ones who are sick, running errands, and so much more. During this unique time, we have asked many of you to take your workspace into your home. Do not feel that you have to keep your home out of that workspace. He says the sound of a child or the bark of a dog or even the disarray in the background, it's all a joy. Those are some great words from Craig there. I appreciate him sharing those. And don't forget, tonight, we're going to provide some joy to some folks with our live Pay It Forward live show with Dave Matthews. I believe he's from his living room. You can check that out on the Verizon Twitter handle starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's a great thing. And we're also helping local businesses in this great time of need. So some great reminders there. Appreciate all of you joining us. It's a nice day here in the Northeast. I'm going to go get some fresh air in a couple of minutes, but we will see you back here at noon tomorrow. Till next time, you're up to speed.